following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, why every man in a thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't trust me, big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy, big up myself to known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your wanna be, Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Stars.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. Hope you guys are in a good place today. We're going to have a really fun show. Starting off, we want to say hello to my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell, and Astro.
And our favorite dog. Look at him. Isn't he adorable?
Actually, now he's our only dog.
I got to go to work. Get out of here.
Hey, Astro.
Today I'd like to talk about good stuff. We have beat the knee problem. We're walking. We're in a little bit of pain, but it's okay. And as far as my other problem with the drug, the whatever that other thing was that was damaging my brain, well, I'm back. The doctor said I'm fine, and I'm back to what I was, and the anesthesia has left my body completely.
Look how good you look.
Yes, I'd like to talk about a phone call I just had with a very, very dear friend of mine, my friend Terry. She's a lifelong friend. I call her my sister because she's closer to me than my sister. And she got down in the dumps for over a few things. And I just had to tell her that there's so much ahead for us. Being in our 70s and 80s is not the end. There's plenty of life left. Now, our bodies listen to our minds. I firmly believe that. People say, Ron, how do you look so good? What did you do? I said, I do nothing, but I think young. And I do not allow my body to age. I do not let my body fall into the trap of cancer and other illnesses because that will destroy me. And I gave my friend this advice. I said, listen, Terry, as long as we have a dream and we live that dream, we will live. The moment you reach 85 years old without a dream, you die. Because the brain tells the body, okay, you've done it. There's nothing left. But if you tell your body there's plenty more left we have to do, the body will continue to be healthy and things will happen. So again, it goes back to being positive. God, if only I could get everybody out there to believe me and think positive. Positive thinking makes things happen. Jimmy is so positive in everything he does. Now he's just done a book, a pop-up, what is it called?
I'll talk about it in a sec.
Jimmy's going to talk about it. Jimmy doesn't stop inventing, creating, and happening. And I do the same. I don't do it as Jimmy does it, but I do it with lifestyle. Let's move. Let's get to Florida. Let's go to Boca. Let's get a house with glass. Let's get a swimming pool. Let's decorate this. Let's see that. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's go to Italy. I live. I'm 85 and I live. I'm not dying. And I pass this on to all of you out there. Positive thinking, positive everything.
Yes, you guys. So first of all, you guys, last week I started a new podcast all about action figures. It's only about action figures and comic books and stuff like that. It's called Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star. It's got a YouTube channel. You can look it up, Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star. I want to thank B. Claudia for making me all the graphics for it. It's also got a TikTok and an Instagram, so please follow both of those. And I'm happy to say on our first week, we got about 15,000 plays, I think, which is pretty good for something that's brand new. Also, I wrote a book, and the name of the book is Pop Goes to Collector, The Funko Enthusiast Guide to Collecting, Displaying, and Enjoying the Craze by Jimmy Star. You'll see I've been putting up a bunch of cool videos about it. It's available now on Amazon. It's available in a paperback. It's very thin. It's only like 80 pages long. It's also available in Kindle. for your Kindle. It's $7.99 for the Kindle, $14.99 for the book. I'm already starting to work on the sequel that goes even deeper into it. But the book will tell you everything about collecting Funko Pops, where to find them, where to trade them, where's the best ones. It talks about the grails and the ones that are really valuable. The next book is going to be all about the most valuable ones, and I have a bunch of those, and it's a lot of fun. So I think you guys will dig it. I also want to say hello to everybody in the chat room. Again, thank you, B. Claudia. B. Claudia is in there, and Stefan Bell, and Lady Lake Music is in
Stefan, say hi to Tina.
Lady Lake Music, and at the end of the month, you guys, we're going to have David Martinez, who's been on the show before, a Lady Lake Music artist, a good friend of mine and the show. He's going to be coming on as a guest at the end of the month, and we just set up to do another one of those in August. We're going to do another one, take the music back to the 90s with Mark Loverush with a bunch of other famous people. That show did extremely well. We got millions and millions of plays. Everybody loved it. So he's putting together a whole new show. And he also has set me up with a really popular boy band from England. And they're going to come on. I forgot the name. Isn't that terrible? I forgot the name, but they're coming on the same day as David Martinez. We have a great show for you guys today. We have Manny Cabo. He's been on the show before. And then we have a really well-known character actor. His name is John Posey. He's also an actor, instructing coach. And his people that he works with are in huge things. He's really cool. I met him on Instagram and reached out to him to come on the show. So I think it should be a lot of fun. He's in all the biggest TV shows and movies. And stuff.
I just can't help thinking every time I look at you that you look like an uncircumcised penis with eyeglasses.
Oh, thank you.
No, really, that haircut, penis head.
Well, it really needs to be that it sticks up because it goes up naturally. It doesn't go to
There's
the
nothing
right.
there to go up.
I know. Well, I'm going bald, you guys, so I'll have to try something.
We're going to have to get you a toupee.
No, I will never do a toupee. I'll just go bald. Bald is sexy.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, you have so much hair, it's not even funny.
I mean, I have hair. It just grows out of my ears. It just grows everywhere. But anyway, I'm excited about today's show, and I'm feeling wonderful. And when you feel wonderful, you project it. And that's what makes a show great. When the energy is high, the fun is high, and Jimmy's penis head is high.
There we go. I also want to give a shout out and a thank you. So there's a young lady I met actually on Facebook. Her name's Pam Cunha. She's from Brazil. And she sent me a message saying, hey, could I make a graphic for your show, today? And I said, absolutely. And she made these graphics that Ron and I are in our tuxedos with pictures of the guests. They're beautiful. So I want to thank her for providing those for us. It was really nice. And I want to thank B. Claudia for all the graphics that she makes for me. And she did my whole Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star graphics. So I want to thank everybody who's helping do all these things. And thanks Stefan Bell, because he's working on building our YouTube channels for Jimmy Star Entertainment, Dark Frights Horror News, and Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star. And he already works on the Jimmy Star Show one with Ron Russell, which, by the way, we have 2 million streaming hours on YouTube. So yeah. 2 million hours of people watching our show, which is a lot.
Okay, Juan, could we get rid of the Jimmy Star?
It's not there. It's over here. It's on my side.
How did you get on my side?
That's just behind the scenes. This is what everybody sees.
This is backwards.
Yeah, it's mirrored.
Oh, yeah,
see?
because the Hollywood is backwards. How come Hollywood is backwards?
Because that's just what Juan sees.
Oh.
Nobody, other people don't see this. Other people see this.
Oh. I mean, couldn't they make it easier? We would just see what we see.
Well, nothing is easy, as you actually know. Nothing nowadays is easy.
No, I still can't work. Oh, by the way, I want to welcome a very dear friend of mine who has been living in LA for years in Beverly Hills, and she now was going to be a resident of
Palm Springs?
No,
Palm Desert?
Palm Desert. She just bought a house here. I want to welcome Diane Stone to the desert.
Yay, Diane. Actually, that's fun. She's very nice. I think I've only met her once, but she's very nice. Twice.
Twice. She's one of the most fabulous people you ever want to meet. She's beautiful. And by the way, she's looking for a husband or a boyfriend or live in forever. So if you're interested in meeting a skinny, gorgeous woman, contact me. I'm like a pimp. What can I tell you?
I love it.
You know what? I bet a lot of men out there are looking for tall, skinny broad that's sweet and wonderful. And they don't know how to find her. They go to nightclubs or bars and they pick up the trashy trash. Decent women, you know, are hard to find these days. And Diana is certainly a decent woman.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes, and she called right before the show, but we missed her. But it should be fun that she's moving here. I love it. Also, I had something else and I was going
What?
to tell people, but I forgot what.
My mother used to say, if you forget, it was a lie.
Oh, or it wasn't that important.
So it wasn't important.
So I think oh, screw it, I don't remember. Anyway, lots of cool things are going on, you guys. I'm trying to become an influencer, so please follow me on all my different social medias. Ron's daughter Leslie has also started a new thing called Leslie's Life, and she like redoes houses and does antiques and all this fun stuff. And so
And she's great at it, let me tell
the
you.
two of us are learning how to become influencers together. It should be a lot of fun. And so we're going to be working on all of that. She's out buying flowers now.
Among my many talents, I was an interior designer years ago, as well as a hairstylist. I've always been in the arts of the sort of the gay way. I call it the gay way. But my daughter learned from me the art of design and how to make a house come to life, to be beautiful and cozy and yet sexy. So you have to follow her. How do they get to her?
It's Leslie's Life, LESLLESLIFE on Instagram. She's really just getting started, but she went out today to buy dirt and flowers and stuff because she's going to do something and video the whole thing in
here?
the backyard. Yeah.
Oh. In 111 degrees of heat.
You guys, it's so freaking hot here.
She's in the garden. I can't believe it. I wouldn't go out in that friggin' garden if you pay. I love my garden, but I work my ass off in it all winter. But you know what they predicted? August is going to be 121 in the valley here in Coachella Valley. Could you believe that? We're going to have 121. I think we're going to be in New York at that time and Pennsylvania. Well, that's October.
No, we're going to be at the end of August and the beginning of September. We're going to go for Labor Day.
We're going for Labor Day. Okay, so we'll be in Pennsylvania and New York Labor Day.
Yes, but we're going to be sweating our asses off.
And New York will probably be 100. You know, there may be a thing to this global warming. I don't know.
I also want to give a shout out. I forgot. So Cindy Lady Lake, you guys from Lady Lake Music and Lady Lake Entertainment, she's also she's on my team of people. We're all learning how to become influencers, and she's amazing. And she's also working with us on the promotion and the ideas of a bunch of movies coming out. It looks like The Red River. Hopefully, we're going to start within the next 30 days in pre-production. And so that's why you see all these different things for The Red River.
I can't believe I go to work. I go to work. How long has it been since I made a film?
Last July, we were in Clown Motel.
My God, is it?
So it's been it's been a year.
A year since I've worked. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited. I play a scientist in Red River.
It's going to be fun, you guys. And we also have a bunch of people looking at my Legend of the Bunny Man. And so I think everything is going to be a lot of fun. Before we get to our first guest, I want to just tell everybody you can listen to the Jimmy Star Show on Acast, Apple Podcasts.
The Jimmy Star Show?
The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell on Acast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Amazon Prime. If you want to watch the videos, you can watch them on my TikTok, The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, my Instagram. We're on YouTube. Just plug in The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. You have to make sure you put with Ron Russell or it won't come up. And we're also on 360 TVN. And so we want to thank everybody for tuning in and everything. We're having like a really good time of it all. I also want to say,
I have to clarify something.
Give a shout out to B. Claudia, because next week she's going to go actually get to meet Tony Moore in concert. Tony Moore's been a guest on the show a million times. He's a great musician. He was part of Cutting Crew and part of Iron Maiden. And we love him here on the show, and she's going to actually get to meet him. So congratulations, B. I'm happy for you with that one.
And Louise in Florida contacted me and asked me if Jane Russell was my mother. Well, She could have been because she was 21 years older than I was. But no, Jane Russell was not my mother. She was not my sister, and she was not a relative at all. She was just a best friend. She was like my sister. I mean, I felt like she was family. That's it. But no, there's no relationship between Jane Russell and myself other than we loved each other, period, as friends.
All right, now we're going to bring on our first guest of the day. Come on and bring him on. Hey, Manny, how you doing?
Hey guys, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Look at him, boy. He's got his shit set up.
Yeah, but you know what? We can't see you. You
Why
look
not?
like you look like you knocked over a drugstore.
Yeah, you're about right, man.
What's with the mafia hiding clothes?
Yeah, I'm incognito. I'm incognito.
Sunglasses and the hat. Are you a man or a woman?
He's
We don't even
incognito.
know.
Everybody knows him. He's Manny Cabo.
I got news for you. There's a reward out for this one. How much? The cops are after you. Tell me the truth.
I hope it's a high one. I hope it's a high one at least, you know.
I can hide you. I have connections.
There you go.
We could bleach you to make you whiter. We could make blue eyes on you and blonde hair. And we could also make you look gay. And they'll never ever look for you.
Oh, okay. You sure that won't give me more of a spotlight vibe? I
Get
don't
away
know.
with
Yeah, it might. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, music and media mogul, now actor, has just been added to his awesome resume. Manny Cabo, hello and welcome back to the show. We're happy to have you.
Oh man, happy to be here.
How you doing, baby?
I'm great. How about you, gents, man?
Yeah, well, we just recovered knee surgery. That was a bitch. Whoa.
Been
Don't ever get your knee done. Stay in pain. But anyway, my very best friend growing up was Manny Rivera. And you know what I remember most about him? He lived in the Queensboro Bridge projects in New York. His mother used to make the most delicious green bananas. Oh my God, Puerto Rican.
Now, which one? You got the platanitos or maduros?
Are you Puerto Rican?
Yeah, well, I'm Latin, but yeah, my descent is Puerto Rican and Uruguayan, South America.
Because the Puerto Ricans make the best fried bananas, delicious. I haven't had a fried banana since I was 16 years old, and we used to
So
go.
you haven't had one for 69 years.
I was about to say, that's a long ass time.
I remember her. Rosa was her name. Rosa Rivera.
Wow.
She was about 2 feet. She was 2 feet tall.
I was about to say, you guys got to have a bodega somewhere around there. Just ask for Maduros.
Yeah, I'm sure. We have to go look for one now that he brought up a bodega that you could get one. So,
they don't have. No, here we have all the Mexican stuff. No, we don't have Puerto Rican. Nothing Puerto Rican here. I looked. They have tacos. I swear to Christ, if the friggin' Mexicans only eat tacos, I don't understand this. Don't they eat anything
we live
else?
in Palm Springs, and literally there's
Every
a
block is a
Mexican
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 restaurant.
restaurant about every 2 blocks.
Really?
We don't have a Chinese restaurant.
No. I wish somebody would open up a delicacy Puerto Rican restaurant.
Yeah, we're pretty diversified here, man. We have a Colombian restaurant. We've got
Colombian,
Tell everybody where you are. Tell everybody where you are.
I'm here in Jersey, man. I'm in Elizabeth, New Jersey. So I've got to be a mile away from New York, man.
Nobody's in Elizabeth, New Jersey that's alive.
I am.
Only dead people are there, buried. The mafia got them. That's
go.
the mafia cemetery, Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Damn it, the secret's out.
They shoot him and bury him. Actually, Elizabeth, New Jersey, once, a lot of years ago, I had a cousin there, and they were rich, and they had a house near the river. And
well, we have Hillside, which is literally like block up.
Elizabeth is very, very classy neighborhood. It was very wealthy. All millionaires once.
All right. So first of all, you guys, Manny, you can follow Manny on
I'm from
Instagram
Brooklyn.
at the Manny Cabo. Let me give you guys a little bit of a thing for if you didn't see him the first time, or if you just don't know who he is, even though everybody knows who he is. But you guys, many years ago, he was on The Voice. I don't even know what season. What season? 10, maybe?
No, that was season 9.
9. Okay, I'm just guessing.
No, it's all good. And then I did season 1. Remember, I did season 1 on La Voz, which is the Spanish version of NBC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys, he was on NBC's The Voice season 9. He got all 4 chairs to turn, and there aren't that many rockers who really were going on the show at the time. He got all 4 chairs to turn, and then I think he was on Team Adam, right? Weren't you on Team Adam?
Team Adam, that's correct.
You guys, so Adam from Maroon 5, and we actually met Manny in New York several years ago when Soho Johnny threw his 911 benefit concert. Manny was one of the featured performers. He's fucking amazing. And not only is he an amazing singer, songwriter, and performer, but this guy does everything. The reason he's got all this professional equipment is because he's got a podcast called Mojo for Musicians.
Yeah.
It's a very popular podcast, top 100 podcast in the world. He's also an author. He's an award-winning photographer. He's a podcast host, and now he's an actual actor, and he just did his first movie called Flux.
Yeah.
What?
Flux.
Lux.
How do you spell that?
Flux.
Oh,
Not Flux.
I
Flux.
could have spelled it a different way and got better, more people to go see it.
Yeah. Well, technically, that would be Fuchs.
The movie was called Manny Fucks.
Manny Fuchs. It would have to be politically correct, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if we change the title to Manny Fucks?
Yeah.
I bet we get a better attendance.
I'd probably get a larger following, that's for sure.
You guys, so first of
Hey,
all,
you're a good-looking guy. What kind of Spanish are you? I can't figure you out. You sure you're not Puerto Rican?
I am. I just said that. Yeah, I'm half Puerto Rican and half Uruguayan, but I'm
I
born here.
Listen, I grew up with Puerto Ricans, and I love them. I went out with a girl, Gloria Hernandez, green eyes, a Puerto Rican with green eyes. Imagine,
Yeah.
but her mother was a nut. I wasn't. I
That's
wasn't
usually the case.
Spanish, so I wasn't allowed to date her. And the mother used to have the aunt go with her if she was going to go out to see me. Imagine this. This is back in 1960. I had to have a chaperone. But Gloria Hernandez married my friend, what the hell was his name? Georgie. And they have beautiful children. Because I'm gay, so I couldn't marry her. But
hang on, I want to go back though. I want to switch to.
you know what? I
conversation.
learnlearned to speak Puerto Rican. Want to hear something? Here's what they taught me.
Okay,
Mama
I
la,
got to hear this.
Mama la crica.
Oh, Jesus. That's a tough one, man.
Is that a bad something?
Yeah. That's one of the ones that, let's just refrain from translating that. That's pretty harsh, man. That's pretty harsh.
It's bad. You can't say that.
Oh, I have news for you. Girls loved it when it was said.
Especially if they were bi. Yeah,
So
definitely.
stop it. All right, I'm gonna
No,
go back.
seriously. I learned a lot of Puerto Rican words.
Yeah.
I can't think of one or two, but
Doesn't matter because I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about Flux.
we're going to talk about Flux. He's on for a while, you know.
I
We just can't hit the movie all the
I want to hit the movie though because the movie. First of all,
I want to ask you, Manny, your first question.
You got it.
Were you nervous?
On the set?
Yeah. Your first movie, you had to be nervous.
No, you know what's funny? I've acted all my life. I've actually turned down roles because I was working full time. I was supposed to be the vampire in I Am Legend with Will Smith. Couldn't do it. And that was also supposed to be in Changing Lanes with Samuel
Ben
Jackson
Affleck.
years ago. Yeah.
I think
So-
changing.
So unfortunately, because I was so occupied with a full-time job at the time, my wife just got pregnant, bills and mortgage. So I had to decline a couple of big roles. But this one came up and it was very serendipitous because the actual person who introduced me to the role was my dear friend, Guy Lemonier, who I tour with, the Wizards of Winter. And he's also been in Lioness. He's been in Blue Bloods, Broadway, the whole 9 yards. He's like, Manny, there's this perfect role for you. And I had met Jerry, the director, at one of our shows in Florida, but I just didn't recall because, there's so much going on when you're VIP signing and stuff. But it just worked out brilliantly. It really, really, it's the perfect part for me. It was very, very challenging. As far as nervous was, I think I utilized the nervous and I inverted it into some good adrenaline, man, because there's some parts out there that I had to truly visit the dark night of the soul. I had to think about my dad passing.
I know,
had
I
to
know a
cry.
lot
It was rough, man. It was rough.
A lot of actors that still get nervous that have been
Yeah.
in film for years.
Yeah, sure.
I've interviewed them and I said, what is it about making a movie that gets you nervous?
Yeah.
And they say, remembering the lines.
Lines
How
are
would you-
rough. Yeah, lines can be rough. And here's the thing: what helps me go over lines is I don't try to commit them to memory. I try to talk them out as if I'm talking and having a legitimate conversation. And then as I say it a little bit more, I'll say it if I'm angry. I'll come home and I'll read it when I'm sad, depressed, whatever, just to get a feel for the lines themselves. And you'll start to ingest them, and you start committing them to memory without you even knowing it. I think when you literally go in there trying just to say, I got to memorize this, then it becomes stale. You can't really make it your own. And it has to be an organic process, because at the end of the day, it's delivering the line, not memorizing.
Yes, definitely.
He says that all the time.
Yes,
He always
because
says people just
you
read
know what?
lines.
I have a wonderful Brooklyn accent that I will never lose.
Right.
And they hire me for my Brooklyn accent because it's mafia.
Yeah.
And I play wise guys all the time. So sometimes the script has this. We're going to get him later. We're going to knock him off. And then we're going to go for ice cream sodas.
Yeah.
I mean, where the fuck did that come in? Where did the mafia say, I'm going to go for ice cream sodas? We got to change the line.
Hey, mafia people have sweet tooth too,
No,
come on.
Manny, they don't understand. They don't understand when we say forget about it.
Yeah,
They don't get to forget about it. The whole meaning of forget about it.
Listen, Ronnie, I'm over here.
So that's my problem.
But I can do this too.
I changed the line. I tell the director, let's change the line. He said, what would you like? I said, let's go for a fucking beer.
Yeah. Okay. All
That
right.
works. Let's go for a fucking beer. Works. But let's go for an ice cream soda. Maybe in a gay gangster movie, but not in the ones I'm in.
So, well, one thing about you, though, because you're used to playing in front of thousands and thousands of people, I think that most, except for Mariah Carey, most performers, musical performers, that when they go into movies, they transition extremely well.
They say that, and it is true, because I've noticed that, alongside of some great musicians on the set here, it's just you're embodying a different set. There's still people surrounding you, right? But just different responsibilities. You may have audio guys, sound guys, camera guys, and at the end of the day, the cool vibe is everyone's in it for the same end goal. They want to see you deliver the best line, make you feel as comfortable. But we're just so used to, like you said, being in front of an audience that it actually makes my performance better, because I get to embrace it. I'm a visceral guy, so I like that vibe of everybody there,
So tell us what the movie is actually about. I was gonna try to do it, but then I looked on IMDb and the description is 5 paragraphs long. Yeah. So summarize it for us.
Well, it's not out yet. So we just did the premiere screening at Kevin Smith's theater here, Smodcastle. Kevin Smith from Dogma and everything. So, and we sold out that theater, and it was just a great reception. Essentially, it's a science fiction film. It's like the end of mankind. The angels are fed up with our human condition. We have fucked up the planet left and right. So it's time to just abolish human beings. And so at the end of the movie, without giving it away, of course, the angels just basically say, all right, it's time. Let's just do this. And they've selected 6 particular characters, to take over or embody them. It's really, really cool. I
actually pulled the teaser trailer off the director's YouTube page for us to play. It's really short, so you don't get a whole lot from it. But so one, it says Flux movie official teaser. What I want you to do, Manny, is you actually introduce the teaser for us, and then hang on. We're just going to play it. It's only a minute long, and then we'll be right back.
Well, wait a minute.
Let's do it.
What does flux mean?
Flux is like a transition type of vibe.
Like a what?
Transition.
To flux is to transition?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you introduce the trailer for us, and then we will play it for everybody.
All right, everybody. This is my latest movie, directed by the incredible Geraldo Uzcategui. Here's a little flux for you.
Do you think I should get one of those bulletproof vests too, or? No, you signed the waiver. That's all the protection you need.
Misdemeanor warrant for a failure to appear. Apparently him and his lady got into a spat and things got physical.
Love and violence, hand in hand. Come on, Brian, open the door. We know you're home.
Please go away.
This?
What's up, Melody? How's life been in the goddamn bathroom for 2 days?
Talk about ominous.
So one thing that's cool about that is you're like an actual main character. You're not like they didn't just bring you in, for a name and give you like a line. You're like all over it. And number two, like you got the hat on there too.
Well, here's the thing. The funny thing is, the reason why it appealed to me is because guys, like I got the perfect role for you. It's very versatile, but you're playing a cameraman. Obviously, I've been a cameraman all my life, but nobody knows my name. That's it. My name is Cameraman. At one point of the film was my name mentioned at all, even to the point where one of my co-stars, Everett, who delivers the line so well, I didn't even know his name. So it's a pretty cool role, man. I truly enjoyed embodying this character.
It's a good trailer.
Yeah.
Only thing I don't like is today we're shooting too much with low key. I hate these low key movies because I can't see the people. I don't want to see the window lit up or the lamp lit and the person not there. So I wish they'd stop thinking that low-key shooting is new and arty. They tried to pull this shit in the 50s with the low-key and also the angular, shots that were on an angle, and it didn't work. The best shot is a classic shot, a full shot, lit well, actors positioned properly. That works for me. But other than that, the film looks good.
It's going to be fun.
Flux, you guys. It's award winning. I don't know how many awards it won, but I know it won a ton of awards. And
what's funny? We won 13 laurels, and this week alone, as a matter of fact, Jerry just two more nominations, so that's a total of 15 at the LA. What was it? Yeah, in the LA International Cinema Awards. So yeah, we're piling them on, and we're grateful for it. Obviously we did something right. With limited budget, limited time. Our director was sick some of the time. So was I. So we had some doldrums that we had to deal with, but we pulled it together. We had a great.
That's amazing.
Where'd you shoot? You shot it in New Jersey?
Yeah, we shot it in Milford, Pennsylvania.
Where?
Milford, Pennsylvania. We've been there many a times. They have a great diner. We eat at the diner all the time.
Did you eat at the Milford Diner?
No, we ate at this one place. It was like a Mexican restaurant right up the street to the B&B.
Mexican restaurant, more tacos.
It was actually really good too.
No fried bananas, just fucking tacos.
Actually, Milford has a really good film festival. They have like the Black Bear Film Festival or something. They have some big film festival there.
But the Milford Diner makes the best triple decker.
Really?
Oh my God. The bacon is not hard, it's soft, and I love it.
He remembers the recipe. That's hilarious. That's great. So that's got to be good.
The diner we ate there many times.
We actually, when we were living in Pennsylvania, we used to live in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and we were considered because Milford is also a big movie community.
They're very artsy out there. Really, really good people too, man. Really. And you know what? I got to tell you a quick story.
Hang on. He's telling you a story.
Oh, I can't hear.
I know. We need to go. Tell us a story.
We were actually doing a scene, and so it must have slipped our mind where we were actually shooting a scene, and we literally had, again, not to give away too much, we had two, deceased officers inside one of our cop cars, and the whole town, they started just flooding the police department with calls, right? And so they just came in.
They thought it was real.
They thought it was real naturally. We're like, well, you got to tell us this time. But it so happens that everything on this production just worked out. They actually lent us their truck. They actually drove us around. So, we add some more legitimacy to the actual film, which was absolutely epic. So big shout out to the police crew out there. So for taking care of us.
So I got a story for you.
I was going to tell it. I was in a movie in Pennsylvania where I played
Pittsburgh.
I played a cop.
Yeah.
I was in full cop job with a gun, everything.
Yeah.
And we were on lunch break, and we went into this 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And we bought food. And I said to Jimmy on the way out, food is really cheap here in Pennsylvania. All of this food for $6. They didn't charge me. They thought I was a real cop. So they pushed the food.
Now they probably thought you were a mafioso. That's why we got.
I said to the extras behind me, We should go to an Italian restaurant
That's
now.
too funny. You know what's funny? I just got texted. Our director's like, we ordered from the Milford Diner a few times for our craft services, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, let's give him a shout out too and congratulate
Jerry,
him on the
Jerry.
film.
Who's our producer friend up there that we know?
We know.
He's a big producer, lives there.
Yeah, I forgot his name. David Madison. He does a bunch of
David-
horror
you know
movies.
David Madison?
Really?
Lived there. They shot there.
No,
So
but they might have run into David.
anyway, David Madison does a lot of horror movies, and he
And
lives
he
there.
lives in Milford.
And one of my PR clients, Wendy Stewart Kaplan, has a house there.
Right. If it
Wow.
was the winter, I would have moved to Milford. The winters are brutal.
So we got to link up with these people. Hey, you never know. You know, serendipitous moments come around just like moments like this. You know, you just.
Oh
never
no,
know.
absolutely,
What do you
Right?
say?
You got to embrace it.
absolutely. I think that's true. So, have you been in other movies then, or you've just turned some down and now you're going to start doing movies? I think your daughter's grown up more now than back then.
Yeah, she's 19, and I can proudly say that we are already working on multiple projects. It's just a matter of getting the budget aligned, getting all the logistics. You know, I've read over the 3 scripts. I love them all. So we shall see. It's, you know, the inauguration day. Jerry and we went out to Sundance Film Festival, make some amazing connections. We got I secured a deal with Canon for all the equipment for our next couple of features. So we're really excited to be, implementing that gear. You know, that's the thing though. You know this, guys. You know, Jimmy, Ron, you've been around this industry for a long time. You got to network. Your net worth is your network, who you make contacts with.
Absolutely.
And you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But at the end of the day, just don't be a dick, you know, and deliver a solid product.
That's right. Deliver a solid product.
I sometimes think Jimmy and I have met everybody in the business.
I believe it.
In the last 20 years of us doing this, we've met everybody.
Yeah.
I've interviewed over 4,000 people.
That's crazy.
So don't ask me one name, but
Yeah, so if you ever need any cool, like, I mean, we're not friends with like A+ people, but A-, B+ actors and stuff, we're friends with everybody.
That's awesome. And listen, I will, and I know Jerry's here watching, and we'll have a deep conversation. At one point, we'd have to do this off the books and just talk, man. Have a conversation
Yeah, I'd love
about.
to meet him. I love it.
He's great.
you name them. I bet we know.
I just signed a large 5-figure deal to make 3 movies to get financed, and I've got another couple projects that I'm working on getting financed,
Awesome.
and things are really good. So
That's
I can't.
badass.
Yeah, I can't complain about it. So now,
I can't complain. I have a script that I'm dying to play. Now listen to me carefully.
I find that hard to believe that Ron isn't complaining.
What do you say? Listen carefully. No, listen carefully.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I play a gay vampire
Right.
who's telling his grown daughter, that he's gay,
Okay.
and teaching her what it's like to be a vampire. And he takes her to an enchanted land. The script is fabulous. What I love about it is the character of the gay vampire is sensitive, and you feel his pain of what he does. And it's just a brilliantly, beautifully written script. It's going to change vampire things.
So he's got a moral compass, is what you're saying.
yes,
We start to shoot that in a couple of months, and I cannot
actually it'll
wait.
be a while.
I'm working on face. You know what kind of face.
Actually,
I'm
too,
gonna
I have another movie that I'm working on. I have Adam, no, not Adam Green. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Isn't that terrible? Adam Marcus. Sorry, I'm sorry, Adam. Adam Marcus. He's a huge horror movie director. He wrote and directed Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, and he's signed on to direct.
That's
his production
awesome.
company. And we're doing a big werewolf film in Texas, actually. But that one has a lot of characters, and we're also going to have a few big musicians playing certain roles in there. So that's something that I'll put you on the list and see if I can pitch you for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool,
Yeah, but I think you should. I think you and Jerry should have a really good heartfelt dialogue, talk, and find out what projects you might be able to, piggyback off of them.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I want this werewolf movie. We want to have a kick-ass soundtrack, so we're bringing on a bunch of musicians, and they're gonna, as part of the deal, they gotta like write a song specifically for it. So we can have a cool soundtrack. So what's going on?
And we're going to serve fried bananas at lunch.
Yes. So what's going on? Let's talk a little bit about the music, because I follow. First of all, you guys can follow Manny. His Instagram is @the Manny Calvo.
Yes.
He's
correct.
Have you been putting out a lot of music lately? I know you're performing all the time because I see your Instagram.
Yeah. I perform back and forth. I just came back from Nashville, and my anticipation is to release the next 7-song EP by the beginning of, say, like November or so. So, I've written multiple albums with this stuff with some of the top songwriters in Nashville. I just, I'm wearing so many hats with the photography, the podcast. I mean, the podcast alone, I've had. Let me tell you, we had Roberto Sanchez from Dexter, Too Fast, Too Furious, Pomerol. We've had, Oscar Hernandez from The Hangover. He loves you guys, by the way. The Haves, Have-Nots.
We've had him on a couple times.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a guy. They both are funny dudes too. Christina Escobar, who's the co-founder of Latin Media X, who we hooked up with out in Sundance. So it's been some incredible guests on the show. And again, serendipitously, it's all actors or affiliated in the acting scene, the movie scene. So this is where I'm headed. And that's the secret, guys. I would give it all up just to act 24 hours a day. This was always my passion. And it just so happens that it's developing and coming to fruition later on in my career, which is perfect timing.
I was one of the costume designers on Too Fast, Too Furious.
Really?
I used to be a celebrity clothing designer. When I met Ron back in the day, I had a bunch of stores in South Florida.
Yeah.
And I dressed everybody, Elton John, Madonna, like everybody used to wear my stuff.
Well, you got the flash and fair, you got the red shades, you've got the, the crisscross shirts, you've got
now I'm old, but back then I used to have long hair and earrings and
you look like a freak.
And I would wear T-shirts that said "Fuck me, I'm famous." I mean, I was like really wild, but I dressed really wild, people back in the day.
And then he met me, and I introduced him to Ralph Lauren.
And now I'm all Ralph Lauren because I'm old, and also I'm.
I could see that. I could actually see that. Yeah, the more refined. You got the gray.
I'm an executive. I'm an executive now. I'm an executive.
That's great. That's great.
He can't look flaky. You know what? People that are rockers, and I know so many rockers, they're very good friends of ours.
Yeah.
They're not dependable. For some reason, rockers are off the wall.
I think musicians as a whole.
They don't raise money.
Yes.
They don't raise money because people don't trust them. So Jimmy had to change his image. Now he looks Wall Street. People trust him.
Because I'm trying to get $1 to $7 million per film. So
right.
I need to look like I'm not going to go blow the money on drugs.
Well, because importing
sniff it away.
You import fried bananas; it's expensive.
Also, though, one thing I want to give you a real compliment because since we met you the first time, I already knew who you were when we met you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big. I don't actually watch The Voice shows.
I don't either. Don't feel bad.
But I do watch. I always watch the blind auditions because to me that's the most exciting part.
Everybody says that, yeah.
So I watch the blind auditions. But one thing I've really noticed about you is, and this is a problem everybody has, musicians have it, artists have it, filmmakers have it.
Yeah.
They put out a product, but they don't have any business sense to go with it.
Exactly.
People make films,
no
but they don't know how it's going to get distributed. People record an album, but they don't know what's going to happen to it. They throw it up and think it's going to sell, which it's not.
Right, which it doesn't.
So you have such an acute business sense, that you actually get the entire picture, and hardly anybody gets the whole picture. That's why you're successful, because you can not only be the artist, but you also know how to be the business person, and that's a big compliment because hardly anybody.
Well, I found
does
one
that.
thing about.
Hang on, let him respond.
I want to interject.
This is why I love being on this show, man. I just want to see you guys bicker back and forth.
Manny,
Go ahead.
I just turned 85. And it ain't easy, okay? So forgive me. I interject before I forget. Now I forgot, you cocksucker. I forgot what was I going to say?
Something about business.
Oh, yeah. I found my Puerto Rican friends are very clever people. Don't you agree? They're clever.
I would have to agree.
They're clever. They're very clever and very, very smart, and they're good business people. I found that to be all of my friends that I went to school with. They're all well, now half of them are dead, but before they died, they were successful.
It's awesome. It's
very successful.
Pretty hungry, man.
Let me say something about the Puerto Rican people. All the immigrants that came to this country had it hard. The Puerto Ricans had it the hardest of all because they were the first dark-skinned people, other than Italians, that came to New York.
Mm.
And everybody in New York said, get those spics out of here. We don't want those spics here. They were mean. They treated the Puerto Ricans so bad. The poor Puerto Ricans, my heart broke. And they were the nicest people. They came. They weren't criminals. They didn't do bad. They were hardworking. They were lovely people.
And then we brought in some salsa.
You know what I mean?
And then you brought in some salsa. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, baby.
And they achieved the most. They are the best dressed. In New York City, the Puerto Ricans, you couldn't dress them. They dressed gorgeous. And they became so Americans with Latin. They didn't lose their Latin flavor, but they became American.
Yeah.
I wish some of the Mexicans could do this, or the whatever those other people are that come from further down, Santo Domingo and all the island people. You've got to assimilate. I'm Italian. I've never lost my Italianness, but I'm American, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think that's so
Were
important.
you born here? Were you born in America?
I was born here, man. I was born in Newark, literally like 10 minutes
In
away.
Newark. We're actually coming to, so Ron's daughter lives in Doylestown, and we're going to go visit her for Labor Day.
Nice.
So we're actually coming up there.
We're flying into Newark.
Yes, we are actually. So you do it all, though. So you have a very big business sense. You know, how do you go about? So first of all, tell everybody, how do they listen to your podcast? So your podcast is called Mojo for Musicians.
Actually, no, I was going to tell you that, but I was going to address it later on. I changed the name. It was Mojo for Musicians, right? Because I kind of limited it, and I had exclusive musicians, but now it's the VIP voice because I do a lot of empowerment communication, effective communication.
VIP voice.
Yeah, the VIP voice. So now I address a lot of effective communication, whether you're a singer, podcaster, actor, voiceover artist, how to deliver your stories, how to accentuate, how to be dynamic, a lot of the skills that it takes to basically, be in front of the camera and sound eloquent or sound like you mean business, if you will,
I know, I love it. So now it's called
Stupid
the VIP.
question.
You have to change that, though. Wait, because someplace I saw that, wherever I got my information, it still says
it's on the old RSS feed. You got to remove that RSS feed because it replaced it.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
So you guys, I fucked it up. It's not called that. It's called the VIP
Don't
voice.
worry
You want
about
to
it,
check
man.
it out because Manny's super talented. Now you can say something.
Stupid question. A question I would never ask anybody, but I want to ask you because I feel stupid today.
Okay.
Which do you prefer, singing or acting?
Acting, 100%.
Acting, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you why. And we go on tour every single year. Listen, I've sold out arenas. We sell out venues every Christmas, some of the most beautiful vintage turn of the century theaters. After I leave a performance, there's always a void. There's always a void. And I know what that void is. You don't get those aha moments, those light bulb moments, those riveting performances, because you're just entertaining for about an hour. When you're in a role, you're basically taking up a personality that so many people can relate to. It could be somebody who's depressed, somebody who's unfortunately suicidal, angry, a thief. It doesn't really matter. So there's that fun embodying a character, but also the relatability that you have with your audience. And to be able to deliver the lines exactly every single time, that's a tough thing to do, man. It really, really is. I truly enjoy the challenge. I love it. I do it.
I worked nightclubs for years.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the end. It's not. Film is. I love making movies better than nightclubs.
Yeah.
First of all, we don't have nightclubs anymore anyway. There are no
Not really.
such things on nightclubs.
Yeah.
He used to
Now
perform
there's
in like
bars.
supper club type things.
All supper clubs I worked in.
Wow.
I
great.
love it. So I want to ask a question, and I also want to play music for somebody just to hear what you sound like.
Sure.
So here's a question. First, let's do the music thing first. So I picked out two different songs. They're newer songs, Still Got You or Paint the Gray. Which one you like better to play for everybody to hear?
Listen, I'm biased. So I like them all. Go Still Got You because it's very reminiscent of me growing up. And I wrote that with an incredible songwriter, Jim Carolyn, out of Philadelphia. So let's do that one.
All right. So Juan, we're going to play Still Got You by Manny Cabo. You introduce it for us and just hang on and then we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? Manny Cabo here live on the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Here's a little bit of my own original music, Still Got You.
Growing up, listening to Pink Houses, White Snake cranking on the radio. The spotlight late nights got me into trouble. Little Johnny Walker, yeah, I'll take a double. I've never been that good at making choices, at least the right ones, that much I know. But if I never get to be the rock star I see in the mirror every time I dream, I know that I'll be alright, 'cause of that night that you came crashing into me. Now my world is complete, 'cause I still got you. It didn't take that much to make you happy. All you ever needed was my hand to hold. Those lips, your kiss, pretty much perfect. You are all that matters to me, yeah, I'll admit it. I've never been that good at making choices. You're the only right one, that much I know. But if I never get to be the rock star I see in the mirror every time I dream, I know that I'll be alright, because of that night that you came crashing into me. Now my world is complete. Those days of me chasing the wind away. Now I'm just grateful for the day that you came crashing into me. Now my world is complete, 'cause I still got you. I still got you. Yeah, I still got you.
Want you to know, first of all, it's a great song. You sound fantastic. Sherry Nelson is in the chat room. She's a model. She's gorgeous. And she said,
Sherry is one of the most beautiful women in the world.
and she says, Manny's tone sure can make a girl swoon.
When you get a girl like that,
I'll take it.
when you get a girl like that to swoon, you got something in your pants.
You have
that's
such
going
a
on.
great rock star voice, because it's super clear.
Sexy.
You have great tone. You can actually hear and understand,
thanks, guys.
comprehend all the words and stuff. So it's freaking killer.
Thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you guys. I know you guys are bombarded with a plethora of amazingly talented artists. So thank you.
Yeah, we get a plethora of shit too.
You got
Unbelievable.
I love this. I absolutely love it.
So it makes it fun. So as an actor, so here's something I like to ask everybody.
Sure.
And since you're going to start taking off in the world of acting, it's going to be like a 3-part question. Number one, bucket list. If you could work with any male and female actor, living or dead, or you can give me living and dead, who was somebody that you would like to work with? And then the next part of the question will be, if you could have been in any movie that's ever been made, what movie would you like to be in?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question. Holy shit. Well, first of all, I'd love to say Anthony Hopkins. Anybody who's an English actor, I think they're the best in the world.
You're right about that.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins. And oh my God, what's his name? He was in, I always forget his name. You know, there's that one scene where he turns around, he goes, "Everyone!" What's his name? Oh,
What's
my
that
God.
movie? Oh,
I
I
can't
don't know. You
remember.
gotta tell me the movie. Is it also a British actor?
Yeah, he's just incredible. But anyway, if I could star in a movie,
Oh, you got to give me a female too.
to star with a female,
Yeah, male and female. Who would you like to work with?
oh man,
Anthony Hopkins was a good one. Nobody's
I
ever
can't
seen.
remember. What the hell is this? Oh, Gary Oldman. Damn, how can
Oh, that's who I was thinking. That's so funny. Gary Oldman. That's who I was thinking. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, besides all his other great works.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
And wait a second, I'm getting a text.
Oh, and Gary.
Jerry, you see, this is why I love working with Jerry, because he sees me suffering here. I know I figured it out because I remember his name, but he texted me Gary Oldman. I'm surprised he didn't say moron. Thank you, Jerry.
Gary
Love you,
Oldman's
brother.
great.
Yeah,
He's a great actor.
Yeah. In terms of juxtaposed to a female actress, oh my God, it would have to be what's her face from Yellowstone. She's another English actress.
Who's in,
She's the lawyer. She's psycho. Oh my God,
the daughter with the red hair.
yes, she's
She's
brilliant.
the best. I think that
She
she's
is
probably
absolutely
the
amazing.
best. Definitely, she's the best actress on any television show. Like
She really is. She is. Did you see her older stuff? You got to go see her older stuff.
saw
the
her
British Crime
something-
Dramas. She's
I
incredible.
saw her in something not too long ago, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's," because I had never seen her before. In Yellowstone, I had never seen any of those actors before. I don't think any of them, except for Kevin Costner. I didn't know any of them, and now they're all huge stars.
They really, really are, and it's incredible. But they're taking over a lot of the English roles. There are a lot of incredible Black actors that are just crushing it. They're just brilliant actors that come up from over there. I mean, I don't know if it's in the water, because they dominated the music in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and they've always dominated acting. So it's
Ron likes there's an actress. He didn't like this last movie she just did because we watched it the other night and it was terrible. But he likes Michelle Dockery.
Best actress in the world.
Michelle Dockery was in. She's Lady Mary in Downton Abbey, which is all.
yes.
But then she did this other TV series on TNT called Good Behavior, where she plays like a drug addict, prostitute, like all kinds of stuff. And then she did this movie with called Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg and
terrific movie.
Mark Wahlberg
Terrific.
and what's the guy's name? Mel Gibson.
Okay, I got you.
Mel Gibson directed it.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that the one he's in the plane?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
No, it's a very good movie. It's very good. So that's like his favorite. But she just did a movie called Don't Feed the Children. And it's on Tubi. It was a made for Tubi movie. I don't even know. It said online it cost like $100 and something million to make it. I don't know how. It was a terrible movie.
It was a piece of shit. It was an awful movie.
Tell us how you really feel. Right?
Yeah, he really.
You're holding back.
He was so upset because he likes her so much.
No, you know what it is? I do not like movies where 10 people go in a house and one by one they get killed. That script is so fucking old, so boring. We know it's going to happen. We can't stand it anymore. And for Michelle Dockery to be in that sort of a film was degrading. She's a brilliant actress. She's the best actress around. And they put her in this stupid performance that any old
She must
jerk.
have got paid a lot of money.
You could have got any actress that was on her way out could have played it.
Yeah.
Usually it was those movies like Betty Davis did at the end of her career.
Absolutely. She's
Baby
amazing. Betty was incredible.
I love Baby Jane though.
Yeah, well, you would. It's a weird movie. But I knew Betty. And Betty did not approve of that. Betty did not want the end of her career, because I asked her in private. She did not want the end of her career to be that way.
Oh, I want to tell you too, Stefan in the chat room just said that song that we played of yours just sounds like a great outro movie for like the end of a movie.
Oh, there you go. I see Lady Lake. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you.
So
So
what's the movie that you would like to be in if you could have been in any movie? What movie would you like to be in?
Man, oh God, anything that's directed by Clint Eastwood, I would love to be in. Just to be a part of that legacy. I don't care if my part sucked. If it was just me just serving a drink, just to be in a Clint Eastwood movie.
So you'll probably know Robert Lasardo. You might not know him, but you would know of him. He's an actor who he's a pretty good friend of ours. He's been on the show a bunch of times, and he was like the bad guy in The Mule, Clint Eastwood's movie, The Mule.
There you go.
that guy.
I do have to tell you, man, not to be biased, not blowing smoke up my dear friend Jerry. He's an amazing writer. I'm really looking forward. There's 2 scripts, and one we're debating whether to do it as a oneer. And I can tell you, after reading the script, there is so much dialogue. But I've seen it done, but it has to be done right. You guys know as film people. But there's another script that I'm doing which took place during the pandemic, which is pretty in depth. Another kind of like a horror thriller. I don't know, man. I love to do it all. I just love to embody characters. I don't care if it's a comedy, drama, thriller, horror, whatever. I'm one of those actors that I'll whore myself around just to get good roles. But I promise you this, I will deliver a great performance because there's just something about acting for me that takes my commitment level to another height. I just truly, truly enjoy it. I really, really do.
He's the same, whether the film sucks or not. Like his role is always really good.
Yeah, because you've heard movies. You're like, oh my God, that movie was terrible. Thank God Denzel was in it, or thank God like Al Pacino was in it, or as a movie would have bombed. So, I want to be that guy. I want to be the integral part of holding the movie together, regardless of how good or bad it was. So that's what
I'm a big horror movie fan. So I like horror movies, even though right now I'm producing some of everything. So do you have a favorite horror movie?
The Exorcist, 100%.
Oh, it's a good movie. So we're friends with Eileen Dietz, and she's the one who actually does all the stuff for Regan. Like, she's the one who spins her head around and spits out all the stuff.
Absolutely. There's a lot of series. I love the Conjuring series, Sinister, The Nun, and all that stuff. I don't know. I just I'm not a big jump scare person. I'm into the power of suggestion movies, like back in the 70s, Amityville Hill, Halloween. It's just stuff like that. Horror movies nowadays. And, that's one of the reasons why I loved Flux, because it was so minimal and it was a great story. And sure, the embodiment, because a lot of people get confused in the film. Are they zombies or what are they? But they're not. So it forces you to really pay attention because there's a lot of legitimacy in scriptures. It's Bible oriented, angels. So, Jerry, you got to commend on him for doing the due diligence and really getting the detail work in there as well. That's why I appreciate it so much.
So now, what's going to happen with the film next? You guys know, have you worked out distribution yet, or you're working on it now?
That's what we're doing right now. So hopefully it'll be streaming globally within the next month or two. Tubi, YouTube, Hulu. You never know, but it's going to be one of those. I mean, Everyone loves the film. Everyone wants to pick up the film. So we're really humbled by the reception that we're getting from it. So obviously, again, I'll reiterate, we did something right. Evidenced by all the laurels, and it's pretty right off the bat, from Bangkok to freaking LA to New York, you name it. Everyone was really, really loving the film.
I love it.
Well,
all right, you guys.
With all those awards you've won, you should have no problem distributing.
Yeah, he said they're all looking for it. So
he's working on that right now. Actually, he's had a couple of people bring some offers to the table. So that's Jerry's department. I'm just the guy who's like, all right, well, now you need to say this on the set. That's me. In terms of distribution.
Just tell Jerry to be careful then, because distributors are crooked as fuck.
Oh yeah.
You really have to do your due diligence with it, or you'll.
Yeah. We've had some heartfelt dialogue. Like, I'm like, oh fuck that. We're not gonna take that. That's crazy. Well, this sounds good. That sounds like shit. Let's keep moving. Especially
Absolutely.
when the demand gets higher. The more laurels you win, the more they try to sugarcoat. Stroke you a little bit. So we're definitely fully aware that. I know he is to the fullest.
So you guys, this is Manny Cabo. You can check out his website, mannycabo.com. You can also check out his podcast, The VIP Voice. And you also have a book, right?
Yeah, it's a bestseller. And as a matter of fact, we pulled it because we're going to add some new artwork, revamp a little bit of the story, and eventually make it into a movie. I think it's going to be a Hallmark movie. And I may be a little biased, but I love the story. I sprinkle myself in all the different characters. It's a story about resilience. So if you're an artist, ballerina, hint, then I would probably wait for it. I'm going to advertise it. I'm going to talk about it, do some reels. And then when the time has come, I'll release it to the public. I'm really excited about that one.
Love it. Are you also on TikTok by any chance?
I am. I just, I started there about, probably about a little bit less than a year ago. I don't have that many followers, like 2,000, 3,000 followers. But
Are you the Manny Cabo? Are you the Manny Cabo on TikTok also?
It's all the same. It's funny. One thing I wanted to share with you guys is I've been building brands, like brand photography. Branding has always been my jam. So one of the things I always counsel artists, actors, whoever, always have the same username. If you can't get it, figure out another username so you'll be able to see me all across the map as the Manny Cabo. And I got that because so many people would be like, wait, you're the Manny Cabo, right? The photographer, the actor, the singer, like the Manny Cabo. I'm like, I kind of like that. It gives a little bit of fanfare, right? So I just kept it.
No, I'm that way. I mean, I have offshoot accounts also, but my main account is This Is Jimmy Star, and This Is Jimmy Star everywhere.
I see that. That's great.
So it works out that way. So we want to thank you for coming on. Congratulations on everything that's going
Yep,
on.
the movie sounds
Oh,
good.
this one's for you, Jimmy. I just wanted to interject. Jerry just told me that we settled distribution, which I'm really excited about, and we hired Heidi and Fox Rothschild to be ward off the Wolves.
There we go.
So,
perfect.
Yep.
Very
So
good.
we're good.
So thank you for coming on. We appreciate it, and I'll keep abreast of what's going on through social media. But if you've got new stuff to promote, let us know. When the album comes out, let us know, and we'll bring you back.
And thank you for the fun we had.
No, man, you guys are always been a blast, and I'm looking forward to it. Whenever you need somebody, just even spend the time just to say hello. And if you need people in roles, you're doing movies, by all means, I'll audition.
I'm going to put you on the list. I'm going to put you on my list.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Manny. Thank you so
guys,
much,
man. Thank you. Stay safe and stay out of trouble, man. Okay? Can you guys
We'll
do
try.
that? You try.
Yes, we're going to try.
Stay well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Be well.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, before we bring on our next guest, we got 3 minutes. We're going to do a real quick music break. This is The Real Hooks. The name of the song is Heart Attack. It's a fun song. You guys will enjoy it. And when we come back, we'll be with our next guest, John Posey. So enjoy.
Can't you see why I should go? Don't need to run, 'cause you're my cardio. Quit telling me to take it slow when you're the one making me lose control. You're the beating on my chest while I'm lying on the floor. Can't you see it's not working no more? 'Cause loving you is like a heart attack. Take my heart right out my chest, now give it back. And even though you're killing me, keep coming back. So tell me how I survive a heart attack. Survive a heart attack. Survive a heart attack. Right, that's how CPR. I can't be saved when you're treating me this way. I don't know why you're so obsessed, can't catch my breath in this cardiac arrest. You're the beating on my chest while I'm lying on the floor. Can't you see that you're the cause and the cure? Having you is like a heart attack. Take my heart right out my chest, now give it back. And even though you're killing me, keep coming back. So tell me how I survive a heart attack. Notice if I let you finally finish me off. 'Cause the fight in me is gone. Baby, loving you is like a heart attack. You took my heart right out my chest, I'll give it back. Ooh. Baby, loving you is like a took my heart right out my chest now. Even though you're killing me, keep coming back. So tell me how I survive a heart attack. Baby, loving you is like a heart attack. Heart attack. Right out my chest, now give it back. Back, baby. Ooh, keep coming back. So tell me how I survive a heart attack.
Yay, everybody. So before we go on to our guest, want to remind everybody again, my new book, Pop Goes the Collector, is out on Amazon right now. You can get it in Kindle format or paperback format. You know, I'm an action figure collector. I've got tons and tons of them, and I think you'll like it. And check out Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. All right, now we're going to bring in our next guest.
Here we go.
See if we can get him in here. Hello.
Hello, fellas. How are you?
Oh, good. We can hear you really well too. Good.
Yes, I spend my life on Zoom, so I figured out the microphone, the camera, and everything, even the lighting.
I love it. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, actor, writer, executive coach, acting coach, John Posey. Hello and welcome to the show. We're very, very happy to have you.
Thank you. And where are you guys located right now? Where am I talking to you?
We're in Palm Springs, California.
In 111 heat.
It's 111 degrees. It's hot as hell.
My son Tyler has a little place out there. When he's not acting, he likes to escape and get out to Palm Springs someplace. So I've been out there.
So now where are you?
At the moment, I'm in North LA County, Santa Clarita, but I bought recently in New York, so we go back and forth, which there's a lot of work in New York right now. Possibly the first time ever.
I love Santa Clarita.
We were actually looking at property in Santa Clarita.
I used to live in I lived in Stevenson Ranch.
Yep, right there. We're just on the other side. Stevenson Ranch has exploded. I mean, this is a big city right now.
I was there when it was first built, and the house that I bought was a 5-bedroom, big house, $345,000. Now it goes for $1.6 million.
Yeah, everybody wants to be up there. I don't know. It's almost as hot here as it is where you guys are. That's the only drag.
It's nice there because you're so close to LA, though, to get to LA for stuff. Like we go to LA often, and it's a long drive, to make the drive.
You're 30 minutes. We're 29 miles north of the Hollywood Bowl. Not a bad drive. They're starting to shoot a lot of stuff out here, so it's nice. Every now and then you get a gig like an NCIS or something. You just roll out of bed, and the studio is right outside your front door.
Yeah, which is nice. So now where in New York did you, because Ron's from New York.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, we bought it. My wife is from Brooklyn and never really got along in LA. So we got married recently a few years ago. And she said, I just want to sell my place. We'll keep yours and let's go to New York. So we bought on the Upper East Side. And I'm an East Coast guy. I'm from Florida originally, born in Connecticut. So I love the East Coast vibe. And there may be actually more film and TV work happening in New York right now than there is in LA, which would be a first.
Where in Florida? I'm from Florida.
Yeah, I figured everybody's from Florida. I grew up in Boca Raton, believe it or not.
Okay, that's where we live. That's where I met him before we moved to Pennsylvania. But I was born in Miami. I grew up in West Palm Beach. I went to high school in Jacksonville, college at the University of Florida, and then I lived in Hollywood Boca, and Pompano.
Well, how about this? I went to the University of Florida, graduated. My brothers did. We all graduated from there. One's in Jacksonville, one's in Miami. I grew up in Boca, and I have a mother who's still alive in Delray Beach, so we're well connected, it appears.
There we go. Very well. What year did you graduate from University of Florida?
1980. I was on the 6-year plan. It took me a while to get out. I went to school in Boca Raton, St. Andrew's School, which was a private school down there. Still there.
Cool.
My dad was running the place, or else I probably would have been at the public school across town. So did that. Florida. My brother was an All-American field goal kicker at Florida back in the 70s, if you recall the name David Posey, if you were following football back then.
I did. I was a tennis player, so I followed tennis, but I didn't follow football. But I was I went to Florida because I had, as a kid, I went to Gator tennis camp, every summer, and I loved it there. And then the fraternities and stuff were good there. So I was in a fraternity, and I really just had a good time.
And you had to, I don't know why I didn't play tennis in Florida. I think I was trying to show how tough I was by wrestling and football and lacrosse and all that. But St. Andrews had one of the better tennis teams in the country as well.
I went to Forest Hill High School, and we had a great tennis team. We actually beat St. Andrews. We had a really good tennis team. But then after my freshman year, we moved to Jacksonville, which sucked. Because I was the last man. I was number 5, and in Jacksonville I was number 1. But it's better to be number 5 on a nationally ranked team than it is to be number 1 on a team that fucking blows.
and I was born when President Roosevelt signed my birth certificate. So I go so far back there is no history. I was born in Brooklyn in the Red Hook projects. And got out of there and lived in Boca for
Boca. I'll tell you, I used to work at the Boca Raton Hotel and Club parking cars. I had more cash in my pocket than most adults did after a night.
Oh, yeah. Well, my friends used to do it, They used to give $100 to all the waiters and tell them not to write down what they brought us. So we would drink about $1,000 worth of booze.
One of my great stories about parking cars. I was working late one night because I always wanted the extra money, and a car pulled into our lot. It was a 2-door, beautiful Lincoln, and nobody's supposed to pull into our lot unless you're a car parker. So the guy was obviously lost. The window rolls down, and it's Billy Martin and Mickey Mantle. They're looking for the Elbow Room in Fort Lauderdale. I said, "Well, you're about 15 miles north. How can I help you?"
Right, exactly. Far away.
They said, "Here's a $50 bill if you get in and drive us there." So I'm driving down A1A as a 17-year-old kid with Billy Martin next to me and Mickey Mantle next to him. Both of them so shit-faced, they don't even know who they are. And I dropped them off at the Elbow Room where they were, drove the car back to the lot, left it there, and they came back and got it the next
That's
day.
fun.
Those were the days of nightclubs, the Elbow Room. I remember.
That's at the end of Las Olas. I used to live like not far from there. When
I
lived in Fort
remember
Lauderdale. I love it. All right, so let's talk movies a little bit. So first of all, so you mentioned your son Tyler. I want you to know that when I invited you on the show, I had no idea that your son was Tyler Posey or your other son Jesse. I didn't know that at all. I didn't even start research. All I did was look on your IMDb, and I saw, oh my God, this guy's like in every show that is my favorite show. And we've had a lot of the people, like Patrick Fabian's been on our show a bunch of times. A lot of people you've worked with have been on our show. And I thought, he looks like he'd be a lot of fun to talk to. I had no idea. And yesterday morning, because I didn't even research you, and besides that, once I invited you on until yesterday, I got like 15 messages. Do you know that this guy's son is Tyler Posey? Do you know this guy's son is Tyler? I was like, no, I actually didn't know that. But I've seen everything your son has done because Made in Manhattan's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, great. Yeah, that was and before that, he did Collateral Damage with Arnold, where he spent a month in Mexico.
So I think it's very cool. So, and I think it must be cool for your children to have a successful father actor, you know, to kind of like look up to as part of how it's all going, because, you know, both your sons are doing extremely well, and you've done extremely well, and you've got like a who's who of television shows, which I want to brag a little bit for you. You guys. So here's some of the TV shows, and I just wrote down basically the ones I know, but one of my favorites is How to Get Away with Murder. It's like the greatest show ever. Tracker, Better Call Saul, 911, Lone Star, Lucifer, Teen Wolf, obviously, but I didn't know that when I invited you on the show. NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Los Angeles, Bones, Drop Dead Diva, Criminal Minds, Suspect Behavior, NCIS, Boston Legal, one of the greatest shows ever. Cold Case, 24, ER, Providence, Love American Style, Chicago Hope, Full House, Dallas, Cheers, and Seinfeld. That's like every major show of the last 30 years.
Yeah, what you probably didn't mention, that a lot of people, they get this story about, and I'll tell you, and I was wondering if that's why you guys had called me, because it's always an interesting conversation. I was the original dad in Full House.
Yes, I read that afterwards, but I didn't know that when I invited you because I didn't really watch Full House.
And how that happened was, I mean, because the show was so successful, whenever somebody finds out, dude, there was another guy that played the dad, we got to call him up and see if he's still alive. And I was doing comedy in Atlanta with a comedy group, having fun. We were loving Atlanta. It was about to break out to be the venue that it is now with all the film and TV. It wasn't quite there, but we were keeping busy. Living on the Chattahoochee, we had our own comedy group. We thought one day we'd take over Saturday Night Live, which didn't happen. But somebody did show up in the audience from ABC, pulled me aside, said, hey, we're looking for this guy for this pilot. We can't find him. We think he'd be great. Would you mind flying to New York and meeting our people? They didn't tell me what it was. I did. They said, we love this guy. He's the guy. They put me in the show. The show was Full House. What they didn't tell me is that the guy that created the show always wanted Bob Saget. He hung out with the comedians. I wasn't. I was in a comedy group like Saturday Night Live, improv stuff. I wasn't a stand-up. And so Saget was unavailable. He was doing something else. They shot the show with me. Everything looked great. Everybody was happy. All of a sudden, Saget got fired from his show. And the guy said, he pleaded with ABC. He said, look, I love Posey. He's just not my guy. This is my guy. We're together. This is my posse. Can I reshoot it? And they said yes. And that was the end of Full House. But like you said, Jimmy, it wasn't really a show I was dying to do. It was a sitcom. It was a kid's sitcom. But if they throw a show at you and they say, here's some decent money, would you do it? You go, well, yeah. And so a lot of people might have fled and gone back to Atlanta and said, screw this. But I just, I went to New York, started working some more, wrote a play that I ended up touring for 25 years called Father, Son, and Holy Coach, which if you guys are from Gainesville, you would love the material. It's very deep Southern father-son football stuff. If The Great Santini were a comedy, that would be Father, Son, and Holy Coach. And I staged it for 25 years. and came back and did all the shows that you did, a lot of the movies, and wrote a couple of films. I got some that are still in development. And so I just learned how to diversify. So if that did happen again, I'd have things to fall back on. And as painful as that was, it does happen to a lot of people. It's not that uncommon.
Hang on, because I want to go back to the Full House thing, because I have a 6 degrees of separation. So we have this friend, and now I forgot his name. He was on our show, and he's actually like a voice teacher, and he works with a bunch of artists. But he was also in the band, Blackie's band on Full House. And he literally, we live in Palm Springs in a gated community. Literally a month ago, just bought a house like 5 houses away from us, and actually like lives there. And he's still doing all the music stuff. But he kind of like his real claim to fame was that he was like, you know, in the band. I forgot his name. It's Mark something. Remember his name? I don't remember. But he lives right down the street.
Yeah, like the band that John Stamos was in. That one, is that what you're?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Blackie's General Hospital. Sorry, I messed that up. Yeah, John Stamos' band in Full House. Go ahead.
Now you were on Love American Style.
Oh, that's funny. That was a pilot though that I don't think aired. That was the second time around.
The question is, how old were you? Because I remember that show.
No, it's a remake. They did
That
a
was
remake.
really
They rebooted it.
They had very good people involved. I'm trying to remember the director. He had done some
Because
films.
you were in the original Love American Style. You're 90.
Yeah, no, this was when they shot somewhere in the 90s, I think, and I don't think it went, but there were great people involved. I also did a great pilot with Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher that, believe it or not, did not go. I think the network got cold feet about it. It was a very, very dark, weird, like Postcards from the Edge that Carrie did very well for the studios. And this was Andrea Martin, myself, and Debbie Reynolds playing my mother-in-law. And I think it got too scared. It was too dark. It was really dark, but it was very funny. And I was really sad it didn't go.
He was friends with Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
Oh, she was wonderful. And Carrie was great. And Andrea Martin, it was quite a heady experience. The night we shot it, Everybody Who's Anybody was in the audience. And I think Carrie was dating Paul Simon at the time. And he and Art Garfunkel and Penny Marshall and everybody, they're sitting watching this. And I was stunned when CBS passed on it. But, you know, that's Hollywood.
Debbie Reynolds was one of the funniest people I knew. I got stuck in a limo with her and Joan Rivers, and I wish we had a camera.
Yeah,
the two of them were outraged. I was in the middle. What happened was I saw Debbie. We went to the comedy club to see Joan, and when we left, Debbie was there, and Debbie said, "Oh, I want to talk to you, Ron, about Jane Russell's affair. Come in the car." So she sat me in the car, and then Joan Rivers came in the car, and then I was trying to talk about Jane Russell's event for her church, and Joan, I can't remember, but the fucks that were flying, I've never heard so many fucks in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure you got
those girls could curse. They could curse like sailors.
Oh yeah,
they were hysterical.
I'm glad I got to experience Debbie Reynolds, even if it was just for a couple of weeks, and to watch her and Carrie Fisher work together.
Debbie loves her.
Well, so one thing about our show, so I was friends with a lot of like the 80s stars, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, kind of like that group of people. I'm not sure how, I just met them all and became friends. And so I have like a lot of friends from the 80s, and Ron had a TV show called Set the Record Straight for many years, and he was best friends with Jane Russell. So he's kind of like knew Jane Russell and Elizabeth Taylor and Tab Hunter and all those people. So our show basically is mostly older people in the like the 40s.
I'm 85.
From like 40 to like 80, you know, is our audience. It's an older demographic.
And I'm 85, and I wish Jimmy would book more of the older people on so we could talk about how wonderful it was back in the 50s
they can't
and 60s.
they can't do the technical stuff. It's very hard, you know, to get them if they don't have assistants. They can't do the technical stuff.
Because I don't know, you're too young for this, but if you were around in the 60s and the 70s, it was fabulous.
Well, I often wish I get all these websites about the history of film, and when you read about, you know, Jeff Corey teaching Nicholson and Bruce Stern and all these guys in their classes out here together, and there's a great book on Dennis Hopper when he came out here and the insanity of that, and it's really entertaining. And yeah, I really pine for the 50s and 60s, and I wasn't out here. I'm a generation too late, but I would love to have been out here during the and even the early.
Going to a party in Beverly Hills And suddenly Rita Hayworth is in a corner smoking and drinking, talking to somebody, and you automatically faint in your head. Your head faints because that's Rita Hayworth. And you're looking at her, and you can't believe this little woman, this big, is that big Rita Hayworth on the screen.
That much closer, yeah.
And just the other stars that I ran into in my travels. Mr. Blackwell was my best friend. Richard
Sure.
and I hung out together.
Now, do you know who Mr. Blackwell is?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I didn't know.
So he knew everybody in Hollywood. And when I went to his parties, everybody was there. So I really was given the opportunity to meet Hollywood, because that's when Hollywood was Hollywood.
You were there during the days of Spago, right?
Oh, yeah. Rock
You know-
Hudson,
you know what-
Spago, I was there when it was a gay bar.
Oh, that I don't recall.
Yeah,
But-
no, it was Rock Hudson's favorite gay bar. And before it became Spago the Pizzeria, it was a gay bar up on the hill. Oh, I know it. I've been everywhere.
So when did you make your first? When did you start actually? Like, when was your first like TV show or movie or whatever?
Well,
What-
if we're talking LA, I got when they invited me out here, I stayed. Went to New York for a couple of years, came back and forth. But two things happened in Atlanta. While I was a working actor in Atlanta, I had a lot going on. I had a syndicated radio show, my own comedy group. We were doing great, and two films came through town. One was Manhunter, the original Manhunter, with
Great
Brian,
movie.
Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter, and the other one was a Vietnam War film that I did about the incident. What happened? What's the Vietnam War? The famous incident that didn't happen, the Gulf of Tonkin, and James Woods was the star of that. In both cases, people said, "You need to be in LA. What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm just waiting." And Michael Mann's film with William Peterson and Brian Cox. If you ever watch Manhunter, the original, and you'll see that the serial killer is going after these innocent families, and he's doing it via their home films, and he works in the lab. Well, I was one of the families in those home films who he kills. So that's why, you say, I don't know if I recognize. Now I know who you are, because if you watch that, but those got me some interest in LA to come on out. I was just sort of enjoying Atlanta so much, but those two films kind of came out back to back. And then
Actually,
once I
Stephen Lang is in that film, and he's a friend of ours. He's been on the show. We've had him on the show, and he's a friend of ours. And
Yeah, he's great.
I actually danced a slow dance cheek to cheek with Stephen Lang. We interviewed him up in Milford, New York.
no,
And
big no.
where was it?
What's the place? The music place.
The music,
What's the
anyway,
music place in New York that they had the big thing of Woodstock in Woodstock?
so I was interviewing Stephen, and I said, it's amazing how relaxed you are around gay people. Most actors are a little worried. They worry what I'm going to ask. He said, oh, no, I love gay people. I said, then dance with me. He said, okay. And we got up, the music was playing, and we danced cheek to cheek. I said, good thing.
He's a really good guy.
I said, good thing they're not taking pictures of this. He said, why? He said, most straight men that are not homophobic love gay people. It's the homophobic men that are afraid of gay people, the closet cases. So I agree with him on that note. All the closet gays that I know, and I knew all the gay guys at Hollywood. I knew Rock Hudson. I knew Tab Hunter was a dear friend of mine. So all the girls, I knew all of them.
Ron, I had an acting coach in New York, who was an actor out here at the 70s, and he kind of walked both sides of that, kind of gay, straight. He wasn't quite sure where he was headed, but had a good little TV career, and his name was Larry Ellis. Did you ever encounter Larry Ellis in the 60s or 70s doing
Larry
TV?
Ellis?
Yeah, lovely guy, great acting coach, just passed away in his mid-90s, but had a nice little career.
That Howard Hughes, when he saw Mr. Blackwell, gave him the name of Harry Ellis. And Blackwell didn't like the name Ellis. So Howard Hughes looked at him, because Mr. Blackwell, if you knew him, had jet black eyes. He didn't have pupils. His eyes were jet black, the whole ball. And Howard Hughes said to him, you have black wells, your eyes like black wells. So
that's how he came up with his name?
That's how we came up with Mr. Blackwell. But he originally
So I
was,
guess that means he didn't know
he
Larry Ellis.
originally was Ellis, the fellow you're talking about, I believe.
No.
I think so.
Oh.
Howard, yeah, he was Ellis in New York.
Well,
Mr.
he was
Mr.
Italian.
Doctor-
who
He was an
changed-
Italian instructor,
Oh no,
acting
no.
coach. No,
Oh
it's
no,
different.
no,
Okay.
different Ellis. But that was Blackwell's original name, Ellis. He hated it.
So I have a question for you. Do you like doing TV or movies better? Because isn't TV a lot more difficult? I have never done TV. I've done a lot of movies.
TV's a grind. It's a lot more hours. I've done a number of TV shows that didn't last that long. That's why you see a lot of guest and recurring. I've had 4 or 5 shows that only made it for a few episodes. But you know, it's a different grind, and you're the same character every week. But I think what I really like about film work is just the location, being in some far-flung place, and you're seeing new people. You're working with new directors, and there's just something. I don't know if I have a huge. Actually, TV's become that lately, where you're seldom in LA. You're all over the place for TV, and I think I fell in love with the travel. I've worked a lot in Canada. Everywhere in Canada, we've worked in TV, mostly film. But I'm going to guess I'm more of a TV guy, and I've gotten used to that. And I think when you also find yourself doing a lot of guest work, I don't know that anybody comes to LA saying I want to be a guest actor, but you sort of fall into you're a reliable blue collar actor that people know that you can pull off the gig. And it allows you to do a lot of different things. I would probably refer to myself as a character actor, because all the shows I've done, they're all really very different. You don't typically see the same guy. In fact, you mentioned Patrick Fabian, some serious fun I had on the Better Call Saul. And they had me in a huge Wilford Brimley handlebar walrus mustache and a cast, which means I couldn't eat lunch because I didn't want to mess up the mustache, and I couldn't take off the cast because it was real. But that was a blast. I mean, it's fun to get on these shows that are really doing well. Like when I got on Seinfeld, it was just a rolling machine. The same with 24 or How to Get Away with Murder. You get in these shows and they've got the budget to do take after take and have fun. You're working with a well-oiled cast. And as I tell some of my students who I now teach, you better get ready, because as somebody who's walking into a show as a guest actor, you're working with people who've been together 3, 4, 5, or 6 years, and you're walking in, then you got to bring your A game because they're already on their A game. So my experience is probably more in TV than film, I would guess, but there's been a lot. I mean, Tom Hanks for 9 months shooting From the Earth to the Moon, which was his follow-up to the Apollo 13. He did a 12-part miniseries for HBO before he did Band of Brothers, and it was all about the Apollo program. So there were, myself and 50 other guys playing astronauts hanging out in Cocoa Beach for almost a year shooting these. And real astronauts were there. Their stories were unbelievably entertaining and educational. And we just had a blast. That may be the most fun I ever had, sitting in a rocket with Hanks directing some of these episodes. And it was just a tremendous experience. And it got me back to Florida again, which wasn't so bad.
I love it.
Would you ever move back to Boca?
I don't know I have a mother in Delray Beach, and what I really do truly miss that you guys would agree with is there's something about the Atlantic Ocean at night. I mean, it's always 85 degrees. You can tell that there's a smell to the Atlantic Ocean that does not exist with the Pacific out here. And if I could find a little, small 1-bedroom condo that's actually on the beach somewhere in Boca, I wouldn't mind getting back to that, because that's what I remember most about my 15 years.
We're thinking of moving back in the fall. I don't like California, and I hate Palm Springs. Palm Springs is full of sand, dust, and heat, and the people are not for me. Florida is different because I love Jewish people. I grew up with Jewish people in Brooklyn, so I relate to them. I understand their humor. I understand their family with children and Italian. I'm Italian. It's the same as Jewish and Italian is the same. And we don't have that here in California. California, everybody seems to be born American. Nobody was ever born with an ethnic background. So
yeah, my wife is a nice Jewish girl from Brooklyn. She's an agent out here. And so
of course she is. And she has a wonderful sense of humor. Her humor is incredible. Brooklyn Jews have the best humor.
We had to move here originally because I'm a publicist for my day-to-day job, and I have a partner who lives in New York, so we're East Coast, West Coast. built the business fine. I also produce films, and I needed to meet more people, but now I don't need to meet people anymore because I get pitched like 50 films, a month.
And also, I came here to get film work, and I came here to get film work, and every movie I'm in is shot in a different state. So what am I doing? My last movie was in Nevada, so what am I doing in Palm Springs in this fucking heat?
A lot of people are asking that same question. They're thinking, hey, I'm just going to go back where I came from, live in Iowa. Call me when I have a gig.
Yes, I mean, I've got like 8 films on my slate, and 3 of them are financed. They're the only 3 that'll get shot here. They're going to actually get shot here, but everything else is Texas. It's someplace else that's not here. And
you don't have to live in the action. You fly to the action. It's so easy.
Oh, and some of the states that are now into it that are kind of surprising because you wouldn't think they'd be friendly to Hollywood mentality, but Kentucky, Oklahoma, they're
big right now.
Atlanta is the new Hollywood.
Yeah, Atlanta's been that way for a while. For about 10 years, Atlanta really jumped on board, and some of the other states are trying to follow suit. But first it was Louisiana and North Carolina, then Georgia, huge. And then look at New Mexico. When I went to shoot Better Call Saul, Netflix had a studio there as big as anything that exists in LA. You ought to see it.
And now Netflix has got a studio they're doing in New Jersey.
That's right. They're building a big one in Jersey. And Atlanta's got a ton of studios. Tyler Perry's built quite a few of them.
I love Tyler Perry's studio.
So I want to ask, first of all, because I want to just brag a little bit more. You guys, here's some of the stuff you might have seen him in. I'm going to bring up, first, I don't know what you were in Avengers Endgame, because that's a movie that probably has more Hollywood superstars in it than any other movie that's ever been made. There's like, if you actually look at the IMDb, everybody in it, the first 100 people are like A-list, like as big as you can get.
That's actually an interesting story if you want me to answer that, because you won't see. Yes. But here's what happened. I'm listed as reader. Now, I get a call one day, 2017. Never had a call like this in my life. It was the casting director whose name escapes me. She says, hey, I have a weird offer for you. She says, Robert Redford's doing a scene with the guys. They said he has enough time to do his coverage, but he doesn't have enough time to do his turnaround. He said, and can you come do it? I said, well, why would you just not hire a stand-in? They said, because the actors want an actor. Robert Downey and Hemsworth and those guys, they want an actor they can trust. And plus, Robert Redford keeps changing the lines. So you need to play him, shadow him for one day, write down exactly what he says. Come in the next day, we're going to put a red wig on you, put you in his suit, and you're going to be Robert Redford on his turnaround. And that's exactly what I did. So I said, hi, Bob, my name is John Posey. I'm going to shadow you for the day. He said, hi, how are you? I listened. I wrote down the notes because he kept changing his lines. I memorized them, put the suit and the red wig on. And there were some extras there who thought I was Robert Redford with the red wig, even though I'm bulkier than he is. And we went out and shot the scene, and the guys were Robert Downey especially said, thank you for coming in. We just want a guy that we can trust to do this. And I'm thinking, man, I've been in this business 25 years, and that's the weirdest acting offer I've ever received from anybody. And
it's such a huge film. I mean, it's a great film. Yeah. I collect action figures, and so like for me, it's a big deal because I do superheroes, horror people, and then I also do people who've been on our show. Anybody who's been on our show. Which, by the way, I just wrote a new book called Pop Goes the Collector about collecting Funko Pops, and I have your son's Funko Pop in my collection.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when Teen Wolf became the hit that it did, his whole second career of Comic-Con world took off.
Yeah,
and I didn't know such a world existed. I myself, even though I think I shot all of 7 episodes of Teen Wolf, but I was in the Teen Wolf film, and they have a rabid fan base. So I began getting requests to come to Paris and the other places in Europe for their big Comic-Con events. And the fan base is still rabid these many years later. It was a massive hit everywhere, this Teen Wolf. And it was an MTV that had never had an hour drama before. They were known for Jersey Shore people. And all of a sudden, this thing became a hit. And it still is to this day.
We actually had Lyndon Ashby on our show who was on there. And Douglas Tate, I don't know how many episodes he did, but he's a good friend of ours. He's actually going to play I have a movie I'm working on called The Legend of Bunny Man, and he wants to play the Bunny Man because he thinks it's going to be like the next big thing. And so we've had them both on the show. Orny Adams actually a lot of people you've worked with we've had on the show because we had Orny Adams, Patrick Fabian, Al Sapienza, Patrick Kilpatrick. I was like looking through your list, Chuck Liddell.
Patrick and Al and I did a movie together. That's how
Yes,
I met
I
them.
know. That's why I wrote it down. It's called what was it called? Blackwater.
Blackwater, and it's where the entire thing takes place in a. Al and I are very close friends as a result of that movie, and I'm a submarine captain. We shot it on a submarine in the port in Mobile, Alabama, and Al's chasing some bad. No, wait, Al is the bad guy. So there's bad guys on a submarine, is what it is. So needless to say, it was a fairly simple shoot because the entire thing took place on a submarine, so we didn't have to leave anywhere. But that was fun. I love these kind of films where you run into guys like Al and Patrick Kilpatrick. These are the guys who will work until they drop dead. They're just that reliable group of guys that you can depend on to come in and knock out a certain role. And I've done a couple of films with the director of that film.
We had Patrick Kilpatrick on the show, and I swear to God, like I was like almost afraid of him because his characters here. He always plays some really fucking mean dude, and then we had him on the show, and the show, it went pretty good, but I was a little nervous. But then we went to 2 Oscar parties, and he was at both of them, and we got to know him a little bit better. So now we're gonna bring him back. I think it'll be better because I was literally like, I'm not usually intimidated, but I was intimidated by him because he's such a big, scary guy.
and I was lucky because I didn't know who he was, so I wasn't afraid of him at all.
He doesn't get afraid of anybody anyway.
No, because
he's such a good actor at playing the scary guy, and I've seen all of his like movies, all the like karate movies that he does, and stuff, where he kicks everybody's ass, and so I was
he ran for governor a few years ago, and he was a write-in, and I voted for him. Didn't happen, but he was running for governor.
Yeah, he's very cool. We've seen him at a lot of
it's
events.
so sad that we don't have a studio system today like we had years ago, because years ago the studio made sure that the world knew who the actors were. We knew every single actor by name, what they looked like, what they ate. Today, actors, I go to the movies or watch it, and I don't know who they are because the PR is not good. They don't have a studio to advance them, to educate them.
And the companies that are financing these films are largely they're
all Chinese, Japanese, and foreign.
They're tech companies. They're not film first. They have a whole different mentality.
No.
This is just part
And
of
John, what the sad part is? Some of these big stars that I've interviewed don't know how to interview. See, years ago, the studio taught you how to interview. You had a script that you learned, and every interview was the same. Today, I've interviewed some big stars, and they were just Cliff Robertson, wonderful actor.
Right.
Terrific guy. The worst interview I've ever had to do in my life. I wanted to kill him. You know how I got him to talk? I said to him, I heard your wife is a bitch. And that woke him up. He said, no, she wasn't a bitch. She just played bitches. I mean, Cliff Robinson, you could see it on YouTube. The worst interview. Everything was, Then I got him to talk about Joan Crawford, how she wanted to bang him and how she trapped him in the bedroom with her legs in the air, getting toenails done. I mean, it's an amazing story that came out of him. Once I got him started, but it took almost an hour to get him to go. Horrible interview.
I would imagine it's great an actor. Robert De Niro is probably a hard interview too.
Yes.
Who?
Yeah, we wouldn't interview him.
Who?
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Even if he wanted to, we wouldn't probably interview him. We don't line up too well with him.
I would never interview somebody who is as callous, cruel, and coarse to say fuck you to the president. I would never. I don't care who the president is. The president could be anybody. Robert De Niro is a low-class guinea, as far as I'm concerned. He never raised from the streets of New York. He's as common as dirt. And when he said those words publicly, he lost my respect. Actors cannot do that. Actors have to remain liberal or whatever. Neutral is the word.
I don't know. I have a million something followers on social media between my different platforms, and I used to be a little bit political, but I stopped all of it because you just alienate everybody.
If he said "fuck you, Biden," I would have been just as offended. The president is the president. You must have respect for the president of your country, or get the hell out of the country.
Yeah, now is not a good time to want to talk political news to anybody. You have to
No.
avoid it probably at all costs. That would not be, somebody comes on your show and wants to talk politics, you'd have to politely say no, thank you.
Say no, that's right. So you guys, John's on Instagram. He's John Posey 27. Let's talk a little. We have like 5 minutes left. You have johnposeystudios.com.
Well, you're not related in any way to Posey the girl.
Parker
Well,
Posey.
not Parker Posey, but there's a new show coming up. I want you guys to watch it. The prequel to The Boys. It's called Boat Rising, if you're familiar with that.
I'm very familiar. I have the action figures.
And I have a niece, and this is her first big gig. She was just cast as one of the leads, and her name is Elizabeth Posey. She's been out here. She's a little younger than Tyler. Great kid, been working hard, and all of a sudden the work paid off. Then she's about to head to Toronto to start shooting season number 1. So look for that name.
What's the name of the show again?
Boat Rising. It's the prequel to The Boys. I
Okay.
believe it's VOUGHT. You'll start getting wind of it. I believe it's Amazon, and I'm allowed to say that because it was in deadline.
I love The Boys, but you have a school because I remember when you emailed me, you said you were going to be here now because you're going to New York, and somehow in my head I didn't realize you also lived in New York. Somehow it made me think you're going to teach people how to act or something.
Yeah, I do that as well. You know, I think when you're in this business, somewhere along the way, someone will say, "Hey, can you teach me what you know?" And then you start off small, and all of a sudden you have a following. And I've got kids in Australia who come to me once a week, and I've got an acting school here, and we just bought a brand new place. If you guys know Toluca Lake by the old original Bob's Big Boy, we're going to be right across the street near Gary Marshall's theater. And then I teach in New York. And it's not something I think I set out to do, but I do know there's a number of people in sort of my age bracket that people just start to ask, hey, why don't you teach us? And not just acting, but writing. I'm a produced screenwriter. I did the solo show for 25 years. So there's a lot of area that I can cover. And I remember when it was slow, I found work in the voiceover world. I did a lot of very interesting TV commercials, not something I set out to do. In fact, this is interesting. You guys can find this online. You can Google it right now. The first ever public service announcement they did for AIDS, I was the spokesman in the commercial, was 1987 or 8 in New York. And if you look up AIDS PSA/socks, it's a funny spot because they couldn't say the word condom. So has a guy who's putting on his socks using the metaphor. If you put your socks on, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Because America did not quite know how to respond to that. And what can you say and what can you not say to where you don't offend half the world? So they had this ingenious idea, and you can find it. And it's me sitting in a chair talking about this. And it was a huge controversial campaign. And I want to say it was 87, 88, somewhere in New York. And so I found my way into a lot of different areas, which allows me to teach all those areas. Whether it's film. So I just diversified, and I learned how to write because Sony bought the rights to my one-man show and asked me to write a screenplay. Did I tell them I never wrote a screenplay? No, I went out and bought 4 books and wrote them a screenplay. And I've written 15 since, and they've all sold or optioned. So
Legendary. You wrote. I wrote down in my notes the movie Legendary with Patricia Clarkson, John Cena, your son Danny Glover, stuff. You wrote that.
That was a spec script based on something that happened to me in high school. It was a little sports film, and I don't know why I ventured into that area, except it's something.
It's a good movie, though. I watched it. It's about a wrestler, right?
Yeah, it's a high school wrestling film.
Yeah,
and,
I watched it.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I know that I found out that sports films are hard to sell, but they do have an afterlife. If you successfully get them done, people will own them. They're on their DVDs, which no longer exist. But everybody watched Sandlot. Everybody watched Hoosiers and Rudy, and this was one of those films. And I was the first writer on Eddie the Eagle that Disney did, and Gorgeous George, the famous flamboyant wrestler from the 50s. I have that script out, and I've got other stories that have fallen into that sports world. So that was the spec script. Again, I talk a lot about if you want to write, actors sometimes know dialogue better than non-actors, so write. So when I say I'm teaching people, I try to cover the whole gamut of what I know.
I love it.
And it's fun.
I think it's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. So we're actually out of time. So we want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you a lot.
And I think it's super cool that you have 2 sons, which we didn't really talk about Jesse, but I know he was in Selena. I looked the stuff up afterwards.
Yeah, look him up in Screamboat, which is what happens when Disney lost the rights to Steamboat Willie. It's now public domain.
I know what it is. So the guy who wrote it, they wanted to come on the show, but but I didn't really want the directors and the writers on. I was like, if you can't get me the main cast stars, you know, you can all come on together. And they were like, oh, I don't think we can get them, so we didn't bring them on because I didn't want the director.
I think Jesse had the second lead, so watch that. And if you want Jesse, I'll throw him on. I'll send him to you right away.
I'd love to have him on. Yeah, we'd love to have him on. It's a great movie. I saw the movie. It's really a lot of fun, and I like horror, so I think it's fantastic. But we want to thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Good luck with everything you do. If you ever got anything you want to promote, please let us know. We'll bring you back.
And thank you, John, for being a talkative guest. You made it easy for me. You made it an easy interview.
It's a pleasure to meet you. If I don't see you in Palm Springs, I'll see you in Boca or somewhere, maybe out here.
Yeah, we definitely will.
See you for sure.
Now that I've had you on the show, because everybody comes to me for actors for their indie projects, and I've got 7 projects right now that are almost financed, and so I'm going to reach out to you afterwards for some stuff once I get my financing in place.
Great. I look forward to having that conversation, man. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Take care again, John.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We had a good time. Please don't forget Pop Goes to Collector. It's available on Amazon Prime in a Kindle or a paperback. And Ron is rocking and rolling, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Jimmy,
This is MC Alfred and Ozzy. I'm just chilling, Jimmy Star, yo, sitting down and designing. Where every man in thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC. You can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your one I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out.